We're at the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco during Golden Hour. Greg Langman, executive coach. We're here to explore this concept called the knowing-doing gap, especially as it relates to creating your own media company. Now, the knowing-doing gap has been around literally since the beginning of time.
Yes, it has.
So why is it that people, when they know what to do, hesitate and hold back, even if it's in their own best interest? That's a great question.
It's a great question. When I think about that knowing-doing gap, it really is mysterious. But it's not actually as mysterious as we think.
No, and I love this metaphor of the Golden Gate Bridge because on the one hand, on one side, here standing in Marin County, represents knowing what we should do, right? We know we should, eat well, achieve optimal levels of fitness. There's all kinds of things we know. We don't need any more education, Greg.
No, we don't.
Don't need to read more books.
Nope.
But crossing the bridge to the other side to San Francisco represents the doing. So you've uncovered something as it relates to creating a media company that I think is interesting, that explains the relationship from one side of the bridge to the other.
Yeah. If you want to get from knowing to doing, it's all about ownership. If we don't own the media company, we'll never actually do the work of getting our message out there to the world.
I love that because it really is universal. It doesn't matter what it is. You own your own fitness or your relationships. Correct. It's ownership.
It is. Because if we don't have ownership, all we have is an idea or a concept. It's hopeful or wishful thinking. But it's action that gets us from where we are, what we know, to actually doing what we say we're all about.
Yeah, I know in executive leadership world, people love to talk in semantic circles and play intellectual Wimbledon. And yes, you got to take action. But what you've uncovered is that action only happens when there's true ownership involved.
Right. Because ownership is actually owning the beliefs. It's owning the action. It's owning your fears. Ownership on multiple levels is the only thing that's going to sustain you on the trip from what you know to actually implementing it.
And actually getting across the bridge and doing it. Now, you've also, in this metaphor, which I love because it has to do with a children's book called The Three Billy Goats Gruff. They wanted to cross the bridge, but you've uncovered what is underneath that bridge.
Yeah. Always when you're making that trip from knowing to doing, seeking to become an owner, there's the trolls under the bridge. The fears that tell you you're not enough, you can't do it, it's got to be done perfectly. And those trolls often keep people from getting from that knowledge to actually doing the work.
And the trolls are everywhere.
Everywhere.
Online, offline, but I think most predominantly the troll of self-doubt and anxiety and worry and things of that nature.
Absolutely. The world does tell us things. There's people out there the naysayers, you can't do that. But again, if we start believing those things, we'll stop.
I love this idea, Greg, and we'll wrap it up on this, the ownership aspect of this, because in every organization, every single one, there are owners and then there are renters.
That's right.
What's the difference?
A renter can come and go whenever they please. They can treat things however they want. But an owner understands that they're in this for the long haul. What they do matters, not just today, it matters for days, weeks, and years to come.
And it's so crucial if you want to build a legendary brand, create your own media company, you're going to just have to recognize how powerful it is when you start owning as opposed to renting. From the Golden Gate Bridge during the Golden Hour, Greg, thanks so much for doing this.
My pleasure.